Okay, welcome back. So last time I was chatting here on the road and I was about to tell you about some really cool building that I saw off in the distance. So let's get straight back into it, but first, random colorful building. Okay, so I just spotted this really cool building and I really don't know if it's real or just decoration. What are those? It's like a building full of cars. I really hope you can see it. I don't know if that's like a wall effect or if those are really like cars. I assume it's real cars. Why? That is very interesting. I don't know what that is. Breaking the rule. 1 foot at a time. All put in a restaurant, indoor skate park. No one is skating, unfortunately. It's a fun thing to find in Singapore. I also love Thailand, so yay! Singapore and I have something in common. So I'm closer to that car building and I still have no clue what's going on here. It's not just a car building. It also has like a Times Square kind of vibe in terms of a screen, and it has a dinosaur. Why? Greenery is incorporated into almost every part of Singapore, and art is also quite a big part of what you'll find around the city. Using the MRT is quite similar to in Thailand, but filling up your card is quite a lot fancier. It's faster, and of course the language of the machine is English, so that helps a lot as well. You can obviously change the language in Thailand, but it's nice to have a default as English in Singapore. The previous day it was not busy at all. Now it definitely was. So I think it just depends greatly on the time that you're going and of course the station that you're getting on and off from. The train itself wasn't very crowded, but the stations can get packed. It's raining! I love the rain. It still blows my mind how little traffic we saw in the entirety of our time there, and this was at 10 a.m, so maybe not the busiest time, but we never saw it much busier either. We are finding our way to the Thai embassy here in Singapore, and it's raining and I love it. The most narrow escalator I've ever seen in my life. Getting hit in the eye so you can see a pretty building. Lovely. I'm not exactly sure what that building is, but it's got a lot of greenery in all the empty gaps there, and it was really cool to look at from different angles the closer we got to the Thai embassy. We had to walk in the rain because we tried to use the front entrance and we were redirected up the hill to the back entrance on Claymore Road. Closer and closer to this very cool building. I'm really glad I got to see it, although at some points I doubted my love for rain. So I printed out everything except one form, and I need that form, so now I have to go find a place to print, which would have been fine if it wasn't raining. So yeah, it's my own fault though. So I don't understand when people get annoyed about things. Like, I do understand, but also like, this was totally my error, so who would I get annoyed at? You know, like, it's just an adventure. So now we trek in the rain to the mall that we just walked past. It's really not that far. It's like literally right here. And then I just find a place to print. And I go join the queue again. Hopefully it doesn't rain any harder by the time I have to go back. Luckily I have a dry shirt in my bag, so I'll put that on later. Although it's just going to get wet again, so maybe I won't. The rain's really light though. It's not that bad. It's like drizzle. Just constant drizzle. Like hard drizzle. I don't know. It's rain. It's rain. It's not drizzle, but yeah, it's not bad. It was actually quite difficult to find a printing place, but I found some places to take some photos, which is cool. I figured out how people can be annoyed. When you can't solve the problem that you have caused, that is when you get annoyed. Now, can we just talk about how narrow these escalators are? They are literally like, I don't know how to show you. That's how narrow they are. Shoulder width. I've never been on such narrow little escalators. Look at that. Anyway, I've found a printing place on level 5, but everything in this place and every other place I've tried is closed. It is 6 minutes until 10 AM and everything's still closed, and there was no sign of anything opening at 10 AM because the people are still not in the shops. So I'm not sure what time it opens, but at least I found a place to print. Now I just have to wait. Hopefully it's already open. I'm really hoping it's open. And then next time I will prepare better. Usually I'm very well prepared. I printed everything except one document. My bad. Anyway, they said in queue. I knew before when I got there that I don't have it. I was just really hoping they'd give me a hard copy. And they can't. Okay, this is level 5. It's closed. I just have to look for it. Oh, it's open. Oh my god. It's like one of the only places in this mall that's open. After finding the place, it was still a mission to be able to print. I had to run to find public Wi-Fi so that I could email them my documents. Then I had to run back up, print it. Then I had to get back to the embassy and join the queue. But overall, it was a successful mission. And as you can see, my mood improved greatly and the rain kind of died down a little and we started exploring. I'm so used to setting up the camera to get good angles of myself exploring that I didn't even think to make use of the person that was with me, but it's fine. Now we're at least in some shots together, which is fun. There were lots of cool things to see in Singapore, but honestly in comparison to Thailand, it just doesn't appeal as much to me because other than just looking at things, there's not much to actually do and keep yourself busy. In my opinion, I know it would be varied, but I think that Thailand is more my cup of tea, which is why I live in Thailand, of course. But there are lots of nice souvenirs, lots of places you can shop in Singapore, and of course they do have adventurous things like the whole of Sentosa Island. It just really depends on how you plan and how you budget. A common tip when it comes to food in Singapore is to buy from hawker centers, which is what we did in Chinatown and Little India. It is similar to Thai street food setups. We did see a few supercars like this one, and even a car that reminded me of a game that I used to play when I was younger. But in general, bicycles and ride shares are quite popular, and sometimes the bikes are just left on the side of the road, which is a bit strange. You would think it would be slightly more organized. This was a cool backpack we saw, and then more cool buildings to look at, which is nice. But once you've looked at the cool buildings, there's nothing much more to do other than shop and look at the art on the wall, which again is nice. But once it's done and you no longer want to shop, then it's not exactly an exciting place to be. So personally, I don't think I could spend long term in Singapore. I think I'd get very bored very quickly. Especially since I felt that way in a 5-day trip. I enjoy that I went there, but it's not on my list of places to rush back to, especially when the cost of living is so much higher than Thailand. Here we are in Little India at Tekka Center, which is another hawker center. I don't think we actually ended up eating here, but we did browse through. There are quite a lot of dishes and variety of items that you can buy there, and the price is much cheaper than a Singaporean restaurant, which is why everyone keeps recommending hawker centers. So definitely a place to go if you want to buy something that is cheaper than a regular spot. There were quite a few spots where we could take some photos, and that was quite fun. And we even saw these unique Kit Kats. There was an orange flavor, and even down here a caramel, and I think somewhere I even came across one of those honeycomb Kit Kats. More bicycle storage, and again the double-decker setup really impressed me. Welcome to Gardens by the Bay in Singapore. This absolutely is where the trip started becoming a lot more interesting and a lot more worthwhile for me. This is a super beautiful place to explore, and honestly top of my list of things I would recommend in Singapore is just going to Gardens by the Bay, walking around by the Supertree Grove. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da! Trees. Surrounded by trees. Trees. These artificial trees are super tall, and they have lots of plants planted against them. It's actually very interesting to see, and one of my favorite things was watching the light show here at night, and that's definitely worth seeing. The floral clock. The hidden Pokemon sections of the gardens were really cool. Unfortunately, we didn't get around to seeing many more, but there's quite a few apparently.
What you sitting? Oh my goodness. All sits for days.
Yes. Okay, stay. And 1, 2. Got it.
I wouldn't even need to squat that day.
Yeah, because he's much shorter.
Very pretty, very green. We did head to the botanical gardens the day after this, and personally I prefer these gardens, probably because it's more of a surprise how beautiful it is, where botanical gardens you quite expect to be full of plants and greenery and beauty. So for me this was just unexpectedly beautiful and so much to see around every corner.
Like rainforest vibes.
It is like rainforest
That's
vibes.
what it is.
Dude, who are you? Why are you so adorable? What animal are you? Sir, ma'am, answer my question. What are you? Oh, the buffalo. Oh, the buffalo. Buffalo so young. Actually a really nice hidden little thing, because I don't think many people actually take notes of that. Kingfisher Wetlands Walk. As I said earlier, it's just surprise after surprise of how beautiful and green it is, and right nearby this is the marina. So this was so beautiful to just walk around the gardens and then find the waterfront, see the Singapore Flyer Ferris wheel in the background there, and just have a lot of time out in nature, not a lot of people around, just super nice. And even when there were lots of people, it was still very quiet.
Someone's taken that photo before as a background. But never with my face in it. I'm unique.
Walk backwards with me towards the marina without falling over trees. I'll just walk forwards instead. At some point it began to feel like it was the exact same photo over and over again, just closer and closer to the Ferris wheel, which I suppose is exactly what happened, but it was so beautiful. I don't think anyone can blame you for wanting thousands of photos here, especially with the way the sky looks there, and the city, and then the Singapore Flyer in the corner, the plants in the foreground. It's just really nice. And then of course there's this giant indoor waterfall in that building over there. This is the outside lobby. We did not enter, but we looked through the gift store and there were lots of cool things to see. Lots of Pokemon things, and also an Avatar theme at the moment because there was an Avatar movie released recently. So they have Avatar inside those gardens as well. I also found the national symbol of Singapore, the mer and the lion, the mer lion. As a South African, it was very weird to see lions representing Singapore, so it was quite interesting to read up a little bit about the reason that it's called Lion City. More and more footage of the Singapore Flyer here, and also the ship-shaped hotel, which is called Marina Bay Sands. They are making music. It's not good, but it's music.
tell you how to do it. No one's gonna tell me how to do it. This is beautiful. No one's gonna tell me otherwise. Except me. I'll tell me otherwise because the truth hurts. So I'll do it to myself. This though sounds beautiful. This I want to hit with a stick. Oh, she stole the drum. I'll just hit it with my hands, I guess. It was actually quite a vibe. I could spend a few hours doing this. Maybe if I had an actual drumstick instead of just smashing my nails though. She stole the drumstick. Mary had a little lamb, right?
Okay, yeah.
I'm not reading the notes. Okay, hold on. B-A-G-A-B-B-B-A-A-A-B-D-D. Okay.
Okay. H-G-A-B-B-B-A-A-A-B-D-D.
I'm just hitting random ones. But I did 3 in a row, so it's kind of close. B-A-G-A-B-B-B-A-A-A. Okay.
Good guy. So try that D.
Oh, let's do high.
Okay.
Okay, B-A-G-A-B-B-B.
Hectic, eh? I won't promise that this is the last view you'll get of the Singapore Flyer, but it's one of the last. Here's the Helix Bridge. We are now very close to the actual marina. Look at the pretty purple flower. They actually had music playing on the speakers right where we were, but it was being danced along to on the other side there where the colorful stands are. There are actually people dancing, so we can listen to it and vaguely see it from far away. They had a lot of pretty lotuses here, and then they also had a floating Louis Vuitton store and a floating ice store. I assume they're not really floating, but that's how it's labeled. And here is where we came back the very next night to watch the Spectra light show. That was super worth it. So actually they light up the marina just behind where I'm standing here. Definitely come see that if you're in Singapore. You can take a little gondola through the mall, or just walk through the mall to get to the other side, back to Supertree Grove, where they have a light show at night, which is super worthwhile, and that's what we did on this evening. This upper viewing platform could probably be a good spot to watch the show for free, but I doubt you'd hear the music. We came a bit closer and it was still quite soft from this platform. It is a 15-minute long light performance that is synced to the music, so obviously it won't be done justice via a video, especially now that I've stripped that music back to avoid copyright claim. But definitely watch it in reality if you're ever in Singapore. It's worth it. I thought I'd end this video with footage from our train trip back to our accommodation that evening. So this is actually the view from inside the train that you can actually see the tunnel. In Thailand, the back of the train is sealed off, so you can't actually see the tunnels. I thought it was really cool that you can actually see what you usually only see in movies. Enjoy!